Hello, ma'am. Sorry for joining 20 minutes late.
It's okay. We'll start.
I didn't know we can go buy grocery today. We were going to buy, but then today they told lockdown, like weekend curfew. Then today morning when I woke up, I got to know that weekend curfew also till 2 o'clock you can buy whatever you want.
Okay.
So I had gone to buy groceries.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Wait, I joined from my laptop.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, ma'am. We shall start. Ma'am, today we'll finish this chapter.
Yeah. Like there's nothing much again. Now yesterday we saw how water was transported. Today we will see how food and different ions are transported.
It's easier than other plant chapters.
Huh?
This chapter actually seems easier than other plant chapters, but questions can
Yeah.
be where osmosis happens. Like those questions are tricky, but concept is easy.
Concept is easy. Questions also, from this chapter, it's not like no, you can't like see many because more than this chapter there is this mineral nutrition and photosynthesis from and respiration where you can ask more questions. So questions from this chapter is kind of very less. So we'll start right away with this one. One second. Let me share my screen. Okay. So okay, you might have heard studied about MPK fertilizers, did you?
Phosphorus, potassium.
Nitrogen, potassium, and
Nitrogen.
nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium fertilizer.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you talk about these fertilizers, like basically as all the fertilizers, they are essential for the plant growth. Okay. Now in mineral nutrition chapter, you have already studied which amongst them is an essential one, which is like macronutrient and micronutrient and all. Yes or no? But in this chapter, we will learn about how these minerals like nitrogen, potassium, and sodium and phosphorus and all these things are absorbed. Calcium, not sodium, sorry, calcium and all are absorbed and transported across the plants. Okay. So when we talk about the absorption of these minerals in the root, okay. Now what happens is that not all the minerals and not all the substances can easily pass through the membrane because we already learned this logic. Only those that are soluble by lipids can be just diffuse. The remaining have to be transported either using facilitated transport or active transport. This we have already learned. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, ions like sodium, potassium, chlorine. These can't be transported across the membrane. They have to be transported only using active transport.
Correct.
When you talk about glucose and sucrose, a small amount of glucose can passively diffuse, but
majority like active.
Exactly. Then when we talk about like small polar molecules, like ammonia and all those things, water molecules, they can to a certain extent pass through, but again, some of them require facilitated diffusion. But non-polar molecules like oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, all these things can easily diffuse by simple diffusion. Okay, so now actually what happens? So in the root, in anatomy of plants, you would have studied that the outermost layer of the root is the epidermal cells. Correct. So these epidermal cells are the ones which are in contact with the soil. Now, where are you?
Are in contact with the soil.
Yes. So now where are you applying all these fertilizers? To the soil, right?
Yeah.
So the concentration of these minerals will be high in the soil. Yes or no? Okay, so that means I can say solute concentration will be high.
Yeah.
Compared to that of your epidermal cells will have lesser solute concentration. Yes or no?
From epidermal cell to the outer root.
Yes. So the outer root, basically the root itself.
Yeah.
So the concentration of the epidermal cells and concentration of the soil, in terms of minerals, is going to be different. So because of this concentration gradient, definitely what will happen? The solute molecules will move from environment to
Yeah. Diffusion will take place. Simple diffusion.
yes, simple diffusion. It's not necessary that it should be simple diffusion again.
Mm.
It can be in simple itself, like it be not using energy. That is
Mm.
passive, but it can be simple or it can be facilitated.
Mm.
Okay, depending upon which molecule. Again, not all molecules can simply diffuse. Some of them require facilitated diffusion, but
Oh.
no energy is there.
Mm.
Why no energy is used here?
Because it's a simple diffusion.
It's not simple diffusion, it is diffusion.
Yeah, like you don't need energy. It's passive.
Yes, it's passive. Correct. That's the reason. Okay. Because there's a concentration difference. So whenever there is a movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration, no matter what, you don't require energy.
Mm.
So always this kind of a transport where it is from higher concentration to lower concentration will always be passive transport. But the
Mm.
problem comes here when they are not able to pass through. So that is why you have facilitated diffusion and simple diffusion.
Okay, ma'am.
So facilitated and simple are types of passive absorption.
Mm.
Okay. So now once these solute will move into the this one, what will happen is the solute concentration in the epidermal cells will increase.
Solute concentration in epidermal cells will increase.
Yes or no? When the solute is moving from environment to epidermal cells, won't it increase?
Yeah.
Huh. Now what will happen to the solute concentration in the environment, that is in the soil?
In the
In the soil. So first, initially, if you see here, there were a lot of solute particles in the soil. Yes or no?
mm.
But the solute particle in epidermal cells were less. Correct?
Mm.
So because of passive transport, what happened? These solute particles started moving to the epidermal cells. Yes or no?
Mm.
Now, what will happen once these particles will enter into the epidermal cells? What will happen to the concentration of the solute concentration in epidermal cells?
It'll increase. It'll increase.
Exactly. It will increase. If you see this bar here, it will show you. It will increase. Okay. Now, but at the same time, when this is increasing, what is happening to the environment solute concentration?
If what environment solute concentration decrease because it's increasing in solute.
Correct. Exactly. Okay. So now if these molecules also, if I have to push them, this is against the concentration gradient. So what type of a transport will I use? Passive transport or active transport?
Passive.
Huh?
Wait, what? When concentration gradient is then active. You need a this thing. Energy.
Yes, because this is going against the concentration gradient. No.
If it goes to towards like in the same flow, then you don't need energy.
Yeah. So here the problem now is that here the solute concentration is low, but here the solute concentration is high. So when you are going from low to high, it is against the concentration gradient. So you require energy, and that type of a transport will be active transport.
What? Against the concentration gradient.
Yes, against the concentration gradient means, see, concentration gradient means high concentration to low concentration. Okay. Now, when I say against the concentration gradient, that means from low to high.
Yeah, correct.
Correct. So initially in the soil, there is a lot of all the fertilizers, minerals, everything is there. Okay. Now, because the concentration is different in the epidermal cells, they will easily diffuse by passive transport into the epidermal cells.
Hmm.
Then what will happen? Inside the epidermal cells of the root, the solute concentration is going to increase. Now, the remaining minerals that are there in the soil are less when compared to that in the epidermal cells.
Hmm.
Okay, but these also have to get in. Now, when they have to get in, they require a lot of energy because they are going against the concentration gradient. That is from low concentration area to high concentration area.
Wait, what, ma'am? Ma'am, repeat the last point.
So when the solute concentration in the environment is getting slowly reduced, and in the epidermal cells, it is slowly getting increased, the remaining cells that are left in the soil, they have to enter into the epidermal cells,
They
but they
again,
can't.
because already they're going against the concentration gradient.
Exactly. So they have to use energy, and this type of transport would be active transport.
Yeah.
So when they ask you what is the order in which the mineral absorption happens, so initially it begins with passive transport and then it goes to active transport.
Okay, ma'am.
You understood the reason why active absorption is involved.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how they can ask you is they can ask you in a sequence, like, in putting arrows, they can ask you how mineral absorption happens. This is one type of question you can obtain. So the first type of absorption would be passive absorption, followed by active absorption.
Okay, ma'am.
This is understood?
Hmm.
Okay, now till now, we were only talking about the solute particles moving. We did not speak about water molecules moving. But in the case of soil also, there is water, correct? And this water has to move from the environment to the epidermal cells. Yes or no? Now, why does the water move? That is the next question. So here comes the concept of water potential. Okay, so when you talk about like after all the molecules have gone, okay, all the solutes have gone to the this one, okay, water potential will be high in the environment or water potential will be high in the epidermal cell? Which part will the water potential be high, in the environment or in the epidermal cells?
I have to correct the current diagram in the environment.
In the environment, correct? Because all the molecules have been absorbed. Okay. Now, I already told you what is osmosis. Lower water potential to higher water potential, or higher water potential to lower water potential?
Higher to lower.
Higher to lower. So how will the water flow? From environment to epidermal or epidermal to environment?
Environment to epidermal cell.
Exactly. And that process will be called as osmosis.
Osmosis.
So once all the minerals are transported, because of the water potential difference, here the water potential will be high, here the water potential will be low. So the water will start diffusing into the epidermal cell. So this is how the water enters into the epidermal cells from the soil. Did you get the logic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so once the minerals and water, everything has entered into the epidermal cell. So who's transporting the water?
Who is?
Who's transporting water and minerals?
Xylem and phloem.
Majorly, xylem is responsible for water transmission, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. And food substances are basically phloem, correct? So now we have only seen the minerals and the water entering the epidermis. We have not yet seen how it is going to xylem. Okay, so what happens is after epidermis, it has to go to cortex, then it has to go to endodermis, and then it has to go to pericycle, and finally xylem.
Correct.
Okay, now in this only, there will be two ways it will travel. Either it will travel through the this one, which is symplast, or it will travel around the cell, which is
it will travel in the intercellular space, apoplast, and inside the cell, synplast.
exactly. So when you talk about the cortex region, in the cortex region, you have this Casparian strips.
Cortex region of cell, no?
Yes, yeah. In the root cell, you have this Casparian strips, because of which the water can't pass through it. So it has to go around. So in that area, it will go like apoplast. The remaining areas, it will be able to go through it. So it will be symplast.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the journey of the water as well as minerals. Okay. Okay. Now, what is the answer for this?
Outermost layer.
What's the answer?
Wait.
The control points at which of the following tissues in a plant adjust the quantity and type of solutes that can reach xylem?
Endodermis. Seen the above diagram, it's good.
Yes, the answer is endodermis.
Yes, ma'am. Because that is the last. Like once it enters pericycle, nothing. Then it will directly go to xylem.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, yeah, so this is how the travel happens. So I told you, no, first passively it will absorb, then actively it will absorb, then it will go to epidermis. Through apoplast, symplast, it will reach endodermis. And in the endodermis, from there it will go to the xylem. And then xylem will take it to rest of the plants.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Now we talk about translocation. I already gave you the definition of translocation. So translocation is basically transportation of food particles or minerals. Okay. You, if it is water, you will say transportation. But if it is food particles like glucose, sucrose, and all, then you will call it as translocation, and minerals also translocation. Okay.
Oh,
Now,
yeah. Phloem does translocation of food. Food, no.
what happened?
Phloem takes care of translocation, no.
Yes, phloem takes care of translocation, but you will learn today that phloem alone can't take care of translocation. Xylem also have to help phloem.
Yes. Ma'am, 1 second. I'll
Okay.
just bring water.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will come to the translocation part. You would have studied in mineral nutrition that almost all the minerals can be remobilized. So when I say remobilized, when in the leaves, if the minerals are there, okay, when the leaf is about to die or it's aging, what will happen is the minerals from those parts will be transferred to the young leaves.
Mm.
You would have studied this, right?
Mineral nutrition is there.
Exactly, yeah. So most of the minerals can be remobilized except calcium. Okay, so because calcium is the framework, so it's not possible to remobilize calcium, but all the other minerals like phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, nitrogen can be remobilized.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, transportation of minerals and water is done by xylem. Transportation of or translocation of food is done by phloem. Okay, but we will be seeing that how phloem also will help in xylem also to a certain extent will help in the translocation of the food particles. So later on we'll see that. Before that, we need to know the structure of phloem. I don't know if you remember or not.
The phloem parenchyma.
Yes, the outermost layer is the phloem parenchyma.
Ma'am, everything is living in phloem except one thing, no?
Yes, like only phloem parenchyma is living. Remaining are dead.
It is ulta and xylem. Everything is living, one is dead.
Oh.
Correct, ma'am.
In xylem also, xylem fibers are dead.
And everything else is living.
Everything else is living.
Ma'am,
Can
one
you?
thing in both of them, no, ma'am. Something is dead.
The structures are different. These are sieve tubes and sieve plates.
I know. Xylem has xylem
Tracheids and vessels.
vessel, xylem parenchyma.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, coming back to this. So when you talk about the outermost layer, which is the phloem parenchyma, after that will be the companion cells. And then you will have the sieve tube.
Hmm.
Okay. Now the thing is, companion cells will help the sieve tube. So how these sieve tubes are like, their sieve tubes are very cylindrical in nature, like this.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
cuboidals.
Yes, but they are not, what do you say, continuous tubes. They are like one tube stacked over the other. And between each of them, they will have this something called as perforations like this.
Mm.
Okay, like a netted structure. And that structure is called as sieve plate.
What one? Sieve tube I got. Sieve plate, what did you tell?
Sieve tube. So where this name sieve comes is that, have you seen in this home and all, in your home, you will have a filter. Like they will basically use to filter all the, okay, so basically it looks like your tea filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sieve that they use to filter things.
Yeah, those mesh thing, coffee, tea, everything.
Yes, exactly. That mesh thing. So what will happen is, in these tubes also, you will see a mesh-like thing between the tubes. Here you can see, here you can see. And that mesh-like thing is called as a sieve plate.
Mm.
Okay. They are present between each, like the divisions of sieve tube.
Mm.
Okay. So sieve tube is not a continuous tube. That is what you need to remember.
Okay,
Okay.
man.
Fine. Now, how did they find out that phloem was the reason why food is being transported?
Don't know, ma'am.
So they did this experiment called girdling experiment.
Mm.
Okay, where they took a wood and then they cut the wood in such a way that all the parts were cut except the xylem part here in the center. So how it is present in plants is, inside will be xylem,
They took the plant.
surrounding that will be phloem.
They took the plant and then they cut.
Yeah, they started carving from like this, from the center like this. So when they started carving, what will happen? All the phloems were removed. Only the xylem part was there.
Mm.
Okay. Now what is going to happen? The remaining part is intact. So when the food is being transported like this,
Mm.
okay, there is no more phloem here to transport the food. So what will happen? Everything will get accumulated at this part.
Mm.
And because of that, this region will start swelling.
Mm.
Can you see the swell here?
Yeah, because
That is, tell me.
they cut it.
Yeah, because they cut the phloem.
Mm.
See, if the phloem was continuously running, then this wouldn't have happened. But what happened? In between, they cut the phloem. No,
Mm.
only xylem is there.
Oh.
So what happens is, they were able to prove that food was transported by phloem and not xylem.
Mm.
And this experiment is called girdling experiment.
Girdling.
Girdling experiment. So this particular shape that is formed is called as a girdle.
Mm.
And that is why it's called girdling experiment.
Mm.
Okay. So understood about phloem,
Yes, ma'am.
structure of phloem.
Yes, ma'am. Sieve tube, sieve plate, companion cell, phloem parenchyma.
Yeah, very good. Now, phloem sap. Phloem sap means the fluid that is present within the phloem. What does it consist of?
Mm.
Okay. Just because it transports food doesn't mean there is no water. There is little bit amount of water too, which is transported along with it.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. But you can't see food in xylem. That is the difference.
Okay, that is that. In xylem, only water. In phloem, more food, little bit water.
Yeah. And in xylem, you have minerals too.
Mm.
Okay. Now, when you talk about phloem sap, it consists of certain hormones, certain amino acids, water, and sucrose.
Mm.
Now, you might ask a question, why glucose is not there?
Mm.
Why it is not there?
Why is glucose not there? I'm asking.
Oh, you're asking me. I'm asking you back since you didn't ask.
Oh, like you said, you might ask why glucose is not there. So I was like, why glucose is not there?
Tell me, no, why glucose is not there in phloem sap. So technically, phloem is supposed to transport glucose, but glucose is not there.
Glucose, I think, is there in phloem something else.
No, the problem is that glucose will be produced by the leaves, correct?
Oh.
Huh. So what these phloems will do, the phloem will basically take these glucose to different parts of the plant and store them. Say, for example, in your tubers.
Leaves.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. Photosynthesis, glucose is made in leaf.
Yes. So that is the source.
Mm.
Okay. Wherever this glucose is going to get stored, that will be the sink.
Mm.
For example, in your tubers, like say for your potato. Okay.
Mm.
So in potato, the leaves basically will be the like this source, and the sink where it is getting stored is the root. Yes or no?
So, glucose made by the leaves is stored in sink.
Yeah.
Hmm.
See, basically this is called as source sink hypothesis. Okay. So where the product is produced, that is called the source, and
Hmm.
where it is stored is called as a sink.
Okay.
So if you take example, glucose is produced in the leaf and it is stored in the root in the case of potato, right? Sweet potato.
Hmm.
Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So here in this case, if you see, the source is the leaf, sink is the root.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Got it?
Yes. So that's why it's not present in phloem sap.
No, that is not the reason. So what happens is that while you're transporting the glucose from the leaf to the root, no,
Hmm.
glucose is water soluble.
Hmm.
So it can't be transported. Why? Because phloem sap also has water.
Water.
So glucose will be converted to sucrose and
Hmm.
then it will be transported.
Hmm.
So that is the reason why when we say phloem sap, we are not seeing sucrose because, glucose, because glucose is converted to sucrose because glucose is a water soluble molecule and it can't be transported as it is.
Okay, ma'am.
Did you get the logic?
Yes, ma'am.
So what all does the phloem sap consist of? There was a question on this.
Sucrose, water, amino acid, hormone.
Yes. And why not glucose?
Because glucose is converted to sucrose because glucose is water soluble.
Exactly. Now this is what I told you. So where the glucose is produced, that will be your source. So what is the source generally for glucose?
Leaves.
Leaves. And then that will be converted to sucrose and that will be transported. And that transportation is called as translocation.
Hmm.
And that sucrose will be converted to starch and will be stored in the sink. Sink will be the organ where it is storing.
Hmm.
Is this clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Again, so sucrose is only the transportation form. The storage form is in the form of starch.
Hmm.
So you should understand that when we are producing, the food is produced in the form of glucose. When it is transported in the form of sucrose. And when it is stored in the form of starch.
Wait. It is made as glucose, transported as sucrose, stored as starch.
Yes, that's it. Okay. So I already told you about the source and sink. There's nothing more to tell. Now, when you talk about in phloem, okay, so it is okay. If I have a plant, okay, now I can have a leaf on the top which produces the glucose and sends it to the other parts, or I can have a leaf at the bottom which sends it to the other parts on the top. Yes or no?
Wait, what, ma'am? You can have a.
So basically, if you talk about phloem, okay, phloem also has water.
Yeah,
Sorry,
phloem.
yeah, xylem absorbs the water from the roots and gives it to different parts of the plant. Yes or no? See here.
Correct, ma'am. Xylem absorbs from roots, gives to different parts of plants.
Exactly. Now, but does the leaf or something give water to other parts of the plant?
No.
So therefore, in movement in xylem is unidirectional. Yes or no?
Mm.
But in the case of your phloem, okay, if you see in the case of phloem, from here, this leaf I can have glucose being transported. From this leaf I can have. From down to bottom it can go. So the transportation is bidirectional in the case of phloem.
Transportation is bidirectional from roots to leaves, leaves to root.
Yeah, like not roots to leaf. You can say from one leaf to another. Or are all leaf on the top? There might be one leaf which is on the top and another leaf which is at the bottom. No.
Yeah.
So definitely in phloem, the transportation can be bidirectional. That is what you need to understand. That's a fundamental difference between xylem and phloem.
Xylem, it is monodirectional.
Yes, unidirectional. Translocation of photosynthetic products occur in which of the following forms?
Transportation of photos, translocation.
Yes,
That means it is stored, it is glucose, then sucrose. Sucrose.
exactly. I told you, no?
It
They'll
is
ask this kind of question.
glucose transported as sucrose, stored as starch.
Yes. So now we are going to study pressure flow hypothesis, okay?
Mm.
It's the last part of this chapter, then we are done. But yeah, today you seem to be distracted. What happened?
I'm not distracted, man.
You're sleepy.
No, man.
You
No,
are. I mean, I am repeating same thing like so many times. Generally, this doesn't
because it's
happen.
a little bit confusing. Like little now I understand. Now I know any question you ask me, I'll tell.
Uh-huh. Okay. Fine. So now we will come to how the food is being translocated. Okay. That is given by this pressure flow hypothesis.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So here you can see the pink color one. This is the phloem.
Pinkish phloem.
Blue is xylem.
It's given no.
Yes, it's given, but I'm still telling you.
Hmm.
Okay. So this green color cell is your leaf cell.
Hmm.
Here is where glucose is produced.
Yeah, and then it is taken to sucrose. I mean, as transported as sucrose, and then through phloem, it is gone to sink.
Yes, let's wait. This is not just a simple process that happens. There's a little bit of technique here. Okay, so let's see what it is. So what will happen is first, these glucose molecules are transported as sucrose into the companion cells.
Hmm.
Companion cells are the ones that are attached to the sieve tubes.
Hmm.
Till here is clear?
Yes.
Now what will happen is this particular sucrose will go into the sieve tube.
Hmm.
Okay. And next to the sieve tube is the xylem. In
Hmm.
xylem, what is running? Water is running. Yes or no?
It's running. Yes.
Yes. Now, what will happen is that here the solute concentration is high.
Hmm.
But in xylem, the solute concentration is low.
Hmm.
Okay. So tell me, water will flow from which area to which area? Xylem to phloem or phloem to xylem?
Xylem to phloem.
Exactly. So because of that, water will flow from xylem to phloem,
Hmm.
and these cells will become turgid.
Hmm.
Okay, when I say turgid, that means like when compared to the cells that are present on the bottom here,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
these cells, what will happen is it will have like more solute concentration.
And because of the solute concentration difference in between those cells, it will keep diffusing, reach the bottom.
Exactly. It will keep diffusing downwards. There will be a pressure difference. Actually speaking, it's pressure
Yeah.
difference.
And then when the down part, the solute concentration is less. So
Mm.
what move from phloem to xylem now?
So I'll tell you, wait. So what will happen after the water enters the xylem? Okay, that this pressure, the cells will become turgid,
Hmm.
and that will give rise to the turgor pressure.
Hmm.
And because of the turgor pressure difference, here the turgor pressure will be high, here the turgor pressure will be low. So
Hmm.
always the flow of particles will be from higher pressure area to lower pressure area. Yes or no?
So it'll go through the phloem.
Yes, it will go down the
Ah.
phloem.
And then
Okay.
again, you cell to companion cell.
Yes. So same like this, what will happen is it will keep on going down, down, down. At one point of time, this water will anyway move back to the xylem. No.
Concentration will be more, water concentration will be more here and less in xylem.
Yeah. So it will just, no, what will happen is the solute concentration will be low. So
So
because the solute concentration is low, the water will anyway go back.
yeah.
And then what will happen is the remaining cells, whatever nearby cells are there, the solute will be moving, because of which the water concentration will be low. So the water will move from phloem to xylem. And this is how it is getting stored.
That's all.
That's it.
So simple. For
Yes,
this,
that's it.
20 more slides.
Yeah, like they would have given in
Oh, you just taught the whole thing in 5 minutes. Less than
That-
5.
It's not that difficult. No, you can understand, right?
Ma'am, with this we finished 11th.
I mean, I didn't finish technically 11th for you.
We finished 11th, doesn't? We finished 11th. Like, we finished.
Yeah, I still have like topics to teach you.
Ma'am, but overall, split combined, somehow I finished 11th.
Okay, great. That is nice.
Good.
Good. Now, next week, on not Monday, I can take class. Tuesday also, I think I'm getting my vaccination on Tuesday, so I don't know.
So you'll be 5 days.
Okay, so we have like 1 hour class. So 1 hour class means 60 minutes. So initially, we'll start solving 45 questions. Target should be 45.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then slowly that should increase to 50 and 60. So you should not take like more than 1 minute to solve a question types.
Which chapter we are doing, which day I'll study that chapter and come.
We didn't discuss animal kingdom and all those things. No, so we'll do that in question wise.
So first Monday we'll do biological classification and first chapter the taxonomy chapter and second chapter kingdoms.
That's very simple. There's nothing much to ask from there, no?
Ma'am, still ma'am. Ma'am, we'll do those two chapters, first two chapters of 11th grade, and this chapter we haven't done no questions.
Okay, fine. Okay, we'll do that on Monday then.
Tuesday we'll do animal kingdom, plant kingdom. Wednesday structural those two morphology, anatomy. Then one by one we'll do, and then you start giving full portion test from July 1st.
Okay, fine. Cool, I'll do that then.
Okay, ma'am. See you.
Chalo. Bye-bye.